Coming up next Saturday, July 2nd at UFC 276, we have the potential unfolding of one of the most interesting and intriguing title fights in the UFC's middleweight divisional history. Now, both of these men that we're going to be talking about in this video, even though the video is mainly centered around one specific individual, are going to be competing on the same card. You have the 5-1 mixed martial artist and the former Glory middleweight and light heavyweight champion, and Alex Powhatan Pereira, who currently holds a record of 2-0 in the UFC, going up against Sean Strickland, who's ranked number 4 in the division. Now, Strickland is a phenomenal boxer with a very awkward and lackadaisical style with the hands low, potentially using a Philly shell to kind of evade a lot of the punches that the opponents throw at him, but then coming back with volume to kind of cook his opponent under pressure and drown them under the volume as well. It's not an easy fight for Pereira, but if Pereira can get past Strickland with his unbelievably technical and sharp kickboxing combinations, including a left hook that probably is one of the best left hooks in the world, and in my opinion, definitely the best left hook in the UFC, even if some people may have something to say about it, it would definitely be a hot talking point coming out of UFC 276, and the only thing fans and MMA media members would be talking about if Adesanya is able to get past Jared Cannonier in the UFC 276 main event. Now, the battle between Cannonier and Israel Adesanya, or the Killer Gorilla in The Last Stylebender, is definitely not an easy one for Izzy. I know a lot of people may be writing off Jared Cannonier, but he's a very technical and sharp, measured fighter in that UFC's middleweight division with the power to put anybody out if he can connect on the chin. You saw the power showcased against Derek Brunson, who was on a huge win streak going into their fight, and then you also saw it showcased as he was able to drop Kelvin Gastelum a couple times in their fight with a beautiful left hook. Now, is this the tale of the left hook, as Israel might get caught by Jared Cannonier and Alex Pereira has one of the best left hooks in the game? It definitely could be, but one thing that a lot of people don't really seem to understand or grasp fully, if you're not a hardcore MMA and kickboxing or combat sports fan all in general, is the fact that yes, Pereira did knock out Israel Adesanya back in the day in kickboxing with a beautiful left hook. But he also holds a second victory over Israel Adesanya, where he was able to go the distance and win a decision. He's the only man to ever hold 2 victories over The Last Stylebender. And could he get a third victory in the UFC, in the premier mixed martial arts organization in the world? It's definitely a possibility, but with the difference between 16-ounce or 12-ounce and 4-ounce gloves, it could be a different story when they're locked inside the octagon. This is anything and everything that people want to see in this middleweight division. But like I said, it's not going to be an easy bout for Izzy against Jared Cannonier, and he's going to have to fight very measured and technical and try to pick apart Jared Cannonier and look for the kill shot over 25 minutes. I definitely think if anybody could do it, it would be The Last Stylebender, but again, not an easy task. And the fight with Sean Strickland and Alex Pereira, with the pressure that Sean Strickland puts on a lot of his opponents and the awkward style that he portrays inside the octagon, it's not going to be easy for Pereira to poke and prod Sean Strickland. But the one thing that does favor him is the fact that Strickland fights out of a boxing style stance, which means he's very heavy on the lead leg. That's going to be open for inside and outside low kicks, which in turn can work up to body shots and then head kicks in combinations with the hands and the feet mixed together up top to the head. This isn't the easiest fight for Pereira, and it's definitely a tough matchup with his first fight trying to crack into the rankings, but I do believe that this boxing-heavy approach of Sean Strickland could lead him to a highlight reel KO in the form of Alex Pereira. I do think that Pereira can land one of his beautiful knockouts and add Strickland to the highlight reel because Strickland is, even though he is defensively responsible, he keeps his guard very low, and that's kind of a head on a platter or a piñata full of prizes for Powhatan. The storylines going into UFC 276 are some of the best you could ask for at the current point. Can Pereira get past Strickland and book himself a ticket to a trilogy bout with the Stylebender so long as he can get past Jared Cannonier in the UFC 276 main event? Or will Strickland play spoiler and use his grappling heavy style and awkward approach to outpoint or potentially finish Powhatan and book himself a ticket to a title fight all in the process? It's definitely a possibility, and this fight is not set in stone. And you have to look at the main event, as Israel Adesanya could get caught by Cannonier and put out, or out-techniqued over 25 minutes and beaten all in the same night. 276 can put us on the loading dock to one of the most interesting and intriguing trilogies in the history of combat sports. But it can also give us a pair of upsets that can make this fight fade off into the distance and potentially dissolve in existence and never come to fruition. One thing is for certain though, on July 2nd at UFC 276, all of our eyes will be locked on the screen to see if, and only if, Powhatan and the Stylebender can finish off their trilogy inside the 8-sided octagon. One thing is for certain, when Bruce Buffer gets into that cage and looks directly at the crowd throughout the arena, it's time. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to tune in to UFC 276.